All right, we got Penn State and Ohio State, one of the Big 12 showdowns that we've been looking forward to this season for a long time. Ohio State, 4.5-point home favorites, and the total here, 47 across the board. James Franklin's had a hard time winning some of these games, and that's been the issue for Penn State. Are they ready to take that step? I mean, they're undefeated this year, 6-0, albeit, look at this schedule. West Virginia, who's okay but not great. Delaware, Illinois is way down. Iowa has no offense. Northwestern stinks. UMass stinks. I mean, my goodness, that's a weak schedule. I'm sorry. It's a very weak schedule for Penn State. So you talk about by far, and it's not even close, by far, the cataclysmic difference in the difficulty of the opponent here compared to anything they faced this year. It's not only Ohio State, but it's Ohio State in the shoe. That is going to be, is Penn State ready, for this kind of test? At least with Ohio State, Western Kentucky's a solid group of 5 team. Maryland, I think, is an improved team. And they played Notre Dame at Notre Dame. At least for Ohio State, they have some tough games that they've played up till this point. So let's see if they're ready for it. I'll say this Ohio State defense, I haven't seen them play as well in a long time as they played this year. They haven't given up 20 points in a game this year. They held Notre Dame to 14. They held Western Kentucky, a very good passing attack, to 10 points. This is no joke, this Ohio State defense. This is as good as I've seen Ryan Day's group, and Jim Knowles deserves all the credit. The moment they hired that guy away from Mike Gundy, who was there for years as the Oklahoma State defensive coordinator, it was a great hire. Last year, I know, first year he was the DC. There were some ups and downs with that defense, but now it's his second year, and look at the way they're playing on the defensive side of the football. Very, very impressive. Now the question is, can Drew Aller, and this run game and the stable of backs be able to move the football here against this Ohio State defense, which has been terrific. They're only giving up 3.1 yards per carry, 109 rushing yards per game. Outstanding. They're stopping the run. They're stopping the pass. This is definitely a team that wants to run the football, Penn State. I don't know if they'll be able to do it. That being said, we know Ohio State's offense this year. This is a big opponent. This is a tough opponent. Kyle McCord has weapons, as we know. Marvin Harrison Jr. Leading a great receiving corps. But, their offense has been rather spotty at times this year, especially when Ohio State's played better teams and better defenses. I know they put up 37 against Maryland, but it took them a while to get going in that game. 41 against Purdue, but Purdue doesn't have much of a defense. Let's not forget that against Notre Dame, by far, I think the best defense. And look at what Notre Dame just did to Caleb Williams and USC, and Ohio State struggled to move the football against Notre Dame in that game. And Penn State's got a really good defense themselves. So I could only look at the Buckeyes here at -4 because that schedule is just so pathetic for Penn State, so weak that it has me questioning whether they're ready to go on the road and hang with this Ohio State team. Not to mention Ohio State, they've won 5 straight. And the last 4 years, they had an 11-point win, a 13-point win, a 9-point win, and a 13-point win. Okay, all of them double-digit victories the last 4 years for Ohio State. So to me, it's Ohio State or nothing. I don't trust James Franklin in these games, in these big spots. I don't trust them offensively against this kind of defense, which is the best Buckeye defense I've seen in years. Ohio State or nothing. Haven't bet it. Don't know if I'll bet it. But at this number, I could only look at the home favorite, Ohio State. What do you think here, C-Mac?
Yeah, you were hitting it good. The Penn State just hasn't played anyone. And their defense, you talked about Ohio State's been very good. It's looked great, but they just haven't played anyone. The numbers are great for Penn State. You talked about those past games, especially at Ohio State. They just haven't been able to win. One thing was they've been able to cover those numbers in past years because they were getting huge spread, You're getting 15 points with Penn State, 18, all these fucking numbers. Now it's just 4.5. I kind of believe in Penn State a little bit, but they haven't shown anything. It's just, these teams that start out 5-0, 6-0 until their schedule gets tougher. I've kind of touched on that the last few weeks. I want to take the points with Penn State, but James Franklin in big games has let me down. So this is one I got to stew over through the week. Savannah, but I'm looking at Penn State a little bit, but maybe Ohio State. I mean, they just Purdue's not good, but after getting by Notre Dame, it looks like they're really ramping, and that defense has looked very, very good, last week.
Yeah, I mean, I look it is a ridiculous schedule for Penn State so far, Ronnie, and that's why I'm worried about them. Look, the eye test tells me they're a damn good football team. I love the balance. I like Aller throwing in the run game, Singleton, and all those great backs. I love their defense. Their defense is excellent, but how many great offenses have they played? That's the concern.
And it seems like it's just been their problem is Ohio State and Michigan. Like they lose those, they're going to go on and beat Indiana and Rutgers and end up 9-2. So this is their hurdle for them.
Do you want to know why I can't trust and back Penn State in this game? Last year against Ohio State and Michigan, you know what the combined score was? 85-48 for the opponents. 85-48 outscored in those two games against Ohio State and Michigan last year for Penn State. So he can't beat Day. He can't beat Harbaugh, James Franklin. Until I see evidence that he can, no mas. Sorry. Ohio State or nothing for me.
He'll beat up though. Take him against the small schools though. He loves beating them up on them.
Yeah, he likes kicking a field goal up by 40 with 3 minutes left to cover the point spread, or punch in a touchdown with 10 seconds to go, like he did against West Virginia. But winning a big time football game in the Big Ten against the two powers, no, not interested. Can't do it. So we'll see how he fares here in this one against Ohio State. Like I say, at 4. I'm not taking Penn State at +4, even though I like them. I think this is as good a team as they've had, but at the same time, I like what I see, but I can't put too much stock in it because they played nobody, absolutely nobody, and especially on the road of this caliber, nobody.
They shut out, the high-powered Iowa
offense. Yeah, of course. Now, let's give them a ton of credit for that. With Deacon Hill and when Deacon Hill and Cade McNamara combined are not much better options than probably Conor Mack and I would be at quarterback. You got issues right now with Iowa.
It's crazy. We'll get to Iowa. They're going to win the West too, probably after that win against Wisconsin.
Well, they very well might.